Hi, this is Zeffy again. I want to show you what I use to make my little traveler's pouch that belongs to the Wanderer. I use papers by Nectar's Creation on Etsy, and the line is called the Wanderer. I didn't print the stuff at home. I took it to the printer to print. He printed it all on heavy paper. This must be about, I don't know, over 110 grams, and I only printed it on the one side, although Nectaria does have papers in the line that you can, you see this sheet here is once you've printed the side, you put it back into your printer and you can put the line sheet behind it. So then, because this paper is designed for notebooks, and sorry Nectaria, I always seem to butcher your paper and do other things besides notebooks with it. This is another neutral that you can put on the back of your pages. So the theme of this selection is basically flying machines, and as soon as I saw this paper, a song came to mind that was called, by Frank Sinatra, called Fly Me to the Moon. And Valentine's Day is coming on, so I thought I'll make something masculine with it, with the theme of flying. And this is what I came up with. I was also very inspired by Nazi from Amity Bloom, who does the most beautiful kits with fabric, and she weaves fantastic stories into her projects. So this is what I did. These are just a few of the leftovers that I have here. I coffee dyed some papers. This was actually, it's almost like a grease-proof deli bag that we get our vegetables in here in Greece. So I cut that up and used that. This is paper. I had coffee stained a bit of magazine, and this is thinner paper. So what I did for my signatures, I'll show you the journal now, but while I've got this paper here, I'll show you. Do you remember ever getting my gran, my yaya, used to get love stories, very cheap, printed on cheap paper, and they were bound in a soft cover, and when she used to receive them, the pages were all stuck together like this, and then you had to tear them open before you could read. And that's exactly what I did. I took an A4 paper and I folded it in half, and I used that for a signature, and I used some greaseproof paper as well. I'll show you that too. But before I go on, I want to show you what I did with the scrap here. I wanted to see if I could manage to stick this onto this old sheet, and I've just used normal white glue, craft glue. You can pull it off, you can see, and I did too. First I stuck it on as it was, and then the second time I just took the paper and I broke all the fibers. I worked it like this to make it a lot softer, and then I put it onto the fabric, and that's exactly what I did with the strip. I stuck some greaseproof paper down in the back of it so that it doesn't stick together, and then I just used some Bombay India ink to write his initials on there. So let's continue. Because I printed the paper only on the one side, I glued two pieces of paper together so that I could get a thicker kind of paper for my cover. And I stuck two sheets back to back. I went crazy distressing it and inking it, and then I sewed in two signatures. So the signatures were that piece of paper that I'd folded into four. You can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. This also has 4, but it has, this has the bottom of the shopping bag that had a pocket in it, so I just sewed it down here. And this is also the shopping bag. So it feels very nice. So I wrapped that around the one signature, and then there was a little piece left over, so I threw that into the center of this signature. I put it into the side as I had it folded. As I had the signature folded, I just opened it and I put it in here and then closed it again. And I even made a little bag for something. I'm going to give this little journal to my hubby, so he can fill it the way he wants to. He always probably just keep it in his office like this. This here is vintage lace that I found one summer when I was on the island of Lesbos. This icon has been sitting on my desk forever, and when I was looking for I actually was looking for an icon of Archangel Michael, who's the patron saint of Lesbos, but I actually didn't have. I had a laminated one. I had this one, but I didn't think that was appropriate because it was laminated. So, and this one has been on my desk ever since I've started scrapping, so it's become a bit worn and torn, which is exactly the way I wanted it. I just hope the Virgin Mary doesn't mind being in a journal, but I don't think she will. And then this is a feather that he picked up one day, and it reminded him of the birds of home. So we carry on, and that's how I use the pocket. That's a little love letter I wrote. Did I bring the envelopes? Amity Bloom has done a whole selection of stuff, and she had embossed the envelopes, and I was very inspired by her, and I thought I'd be very clever and emboss a whole envelope. These envelopes are normal white envelopes that I bought, and I coffee stained them and dried them in the oven. So that's how the envelopes look. You have to, where is the bigger letter? Let me show you. You have to only do the back of the envelope, because if you do the whole thing, it's very tight and it breaks it. And because my envelopes were coffee stained, they were very fragile. The big envelope, I had to use one of my Sizzix embossing folders because my other ones were too small. Okay, and let's just move on. I thought that this blue reminded him of the blue seas of the Aegean, so he bought that piece of silk for her in Belgium, little Delft heart, a music score because of the music there. And I managed to find, when I was looking for his old passport in the safe, I managed to find some francs, and then I've got some South African rands here. I've got some money from the Emirates, and some Italian lira. So I thought that would be nice. And then on the francs, just by chance, was a flying machine. So I thought that was quite appropriate. So that goes into here. I don't know if they had paper clips way back in the day. I need to research on that. And that's why I've used this very old one. I think this is a Tim Holtz one. The only problem is that it does leave some marks here. What else have I got in here? Oh, just a tassel that I found around the house, and a piece of old jewelry. And this is Alcadara, I think it's called. It's suede. I had made myself a jacket last year, so I found a scrap of that and just sewed this up. These are some beads that I was playing around with. They are African beads, as is the guinea fowl feather. I'd collected those in Cape Town before I left. This is a brooch a friend of mine had given me one Christmas. And this is just a photocopy of his passport, an old passport. So that goes in the back there. And you can see the fold. This is actually the fold mark because Nectaria